Today, I'm talking about the social impact of aesthetic procedures. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. As you know, this is that little hiatus period between the patient shoots where we don't have any actual humans to show you. So I'm just, shooting it over here, talking about some of my opinions. And today I'm talking all about the social impact of aesthetic procedures. Now, back when I was at medical school, I remember having a conversation with a consultant at the time, telling them that I wanted to basically do this full time. It was my passion, it was my dream job. And she said to me, well, if that's what you want to do, why are you at medical school? Subsequent to that, over the past 10, 12 years or so, I've had a lot of people contacting me and asking about this particular topic because it's become a lot more socially acceptable, and a lot more people are interested in the topic, not just to receive the procedures but also to perform them on other people and make it part of their portfolio, which is great because I'm all for inclusivity. When she said that to me though, it did kickstart a whole cascade of things in my brain, looking at why it is that I do what I do, because at first glance you could be fooled into thinking that it's quite a superficial career and maybe not that helpful to humankind in general, but I would argue that that is definitely not the case. The way that we look has such an impact on the way that our lives play out. I think it's really important to be able to address this. For example, if you're considered to be attractive, you're much more likely to be acquitted of a crime. You'll receive shorter sentences, you receive lower fines, more considered to be trustworthy, you're considered to have higher academic performance. All these things will conspire in order to be able to smooth the pathway of your life. So there's also a paper which shows that after facelift surgery, people are perceived to be younger, more attractive, and very importantly, more successful after they've had surgery. Isn't that interesting? If on the flip side, you're born looking maybe not so hot and you have a bit of an atypical face, studies have shown that this activates a part of our brains which is responsible for detection of threats. So we respond very viscerally on an innate level to people who maybe don't fit the mean. And that's not even a reflection of our social conditioning, that's just how our brains work. As a case in point, I'd like to discuss Jeremy Meeks, who is also known as Prison Bae or the Hot Felon. So here's a man who's been incarcerated for armed robbery and also assault of a child. He already has a child with another woman to whom he was married when he met Chloe Green. Now, his mugshot went viral several years ago and he appeared in several different fashion shows because of the rather striking way that he looks. And he's now had a baby with the heiress of the Green billions. And I would argue it's probably not the personality that she's interested in. That really made a big splash in the media, and we saw headlines such as Hot Felon Jeremy Meeks insists he's not interested in Chloe Green's money, despite the fact that, daddy's got this really rather large yachts and is living quite a fabulous life. That being said, he will probably fit in very well with the Green family if you guys remember anything about the BHS pension scandal a few years ago and the collapse of the high street. See also the Beefcake Bandit, who committed a series of armed robberies after being featured on a bunch of romance novel covers. Yeah. there are some weird things that we notice about people. So, for example, the amount that your eyelid opens and also the curvature of your mouth is related to how people perceive your intelligence. Isn't that nuts? In a recent paper looking at whether surgery, specifically rhinoplasty surgery or facial aging surgery, improve people's quality of life, the overwhelming outcome was that yes, it did. So can you argue that altering somebody's appearance to make their quality of life better is a bad thing? It's not a superfluous want. This is something which cuts to the heart of social desirability, and it has significant impacts on people's psychological happiness and quality of life. Interestingly, in a group of 93 patients who underwent investigation with this quality of life questionnaire, the patients having rhinoplasty showed higher baseline levels of distress than those who were complaining of facial aging. And also interestingly, this was also the group of people who were more likely to have a general dissatisfaction with their face after the procedure was done. This is something that I've definitely noticed in my practice, and I always say to patients, if you're going to have surgery done, you just find the best person to do it for you. You do it once and then forget about it. Just forget about it. Stop obsessing whether or not it could be better or whether or not they got it millimeter perfect, because perfection doesn't exist and you just make yourself a little bit crazy. Speaking personally, when I had my rhinoplasty done, I was thrilled. I think if we've got expectations that it's going to lead to bigger changes than can really be achieved with one surgery, that's where the issues come in. In the vast majority of patients, however, once the surgery was carried out, it was accompanied by a lessening of concern regarding that feature. So in the vast majority of cases, people do stop thinking about it. Also, interestingly, men had the highest baseline level of distress and the greatest percentage of increase after they had their surgery. And this is in contrast to people who have true body dysmorphic disorders. It's a real struggle that I have when I discuss this with people who aren't interested in cosmetic procedures, lay people who maybe just know a little bit about it from what they read in the media or online. There's somehow this perception that everyone having these procedures is some way affected by body dysmorphia or they're depressed. And, well, I have a paper for you. In general, patients who elected to have cosmetic surgery do not present with significant levels of distress or dysfunction. So no, we're not just all a bunch of crazy people who feel bad about ourselves. It is also known, however, that exposure to many of these ideal images that we might see in the media, like in magazines and so on, it reduces our own facial satisfaction with ourselves. So if you're flicking through Vogue or whatever on a daily basis and you see all these, gorgeous looking people, then you refer it back to yourself, and I guess you would wonder, why don't I look like that? And it actually decreases how satisfied you are with your own appearance. So from that aspect, I guess we are all, as a society, locked into this sort of race to be perceived as being the most attractive or having the best contour of the mouth or so on, so that we are the ones who will have that advantage. And that's what all this is about, really. It's about conferring an evolutionary advantage, faking an evolutionary advantage upon yourself and on your progeny. And ultimately, that's what facial aesthetics is about, which is crazy. Okay guys, so that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed the little trip into my mind about why I do these things that I do. If you have any questions or comments, let me know in the down section below, and I will see you again here next week. I'll see you later. Bye.